it's Felisa. It is a beautiful day in my neighborhood. I'm working from home today, but this particular energy that I'm feeling, like I feel like I needed to stop and talk a little bit about it. So this is probably going to be a little bit of a combination with a little bit of a story time because yeah, I feel like some context to what I'm getting ready to say is probably warranted. Anyway, so for a little bit now, a few years, I've had, I don't want to say issues, but I always kind of side eye when I see people post random pictures or videos of couples that they do not know and hashtag it relationship goals. I feel like I've vlogged about this before, but if I haven't, the reason that I feel that way is because it's bizarre to me to take a public facing event like a picture or a video or whatever and claim the energy and the spiritual dynamics behind that relationship as something that you aspire to without knowing what it is that you're claiming and you are asking and inviting into your life. So I tend to shy away from that. Like I give people their props. Y'all know I love love. I love black love. Like I want people to be together. I want people to love each other. I want them to grow in harmony and peace. I want them to have the best relationships that they can have. But I don't claim other people's relationships as relationship goals. I think that that is dangerous, and I've felt that way for a while. The reason that I feel so strongly about it is, without going into a whole lot of detail, y'all know that I was once married, and I was heavily, when I say heavily, like super involved in the church. So much so that I finished ministerial training with the idea and the expectation that I would go into ministry. Like I literally saw myself in the pulpit. And at the time that I was married, my ex-husband and I were not on the same page for a lot of things. Hence the reason for the divorce. So, there came a time when, or came several times when, I was like, we really need to get counseling. We need to figure this out. I really had a desire to save my marriage. I didn't want to be divorced. I didn't want my children to grow up in a home that was divided, mom and dad or what have you. I wanted to do something different from my childhood. So I really wanted to save my marriage. Like it was never my intention to get married, have a whole bunch of kids, and then just be single. And like who writes that for the what I want to be when I grow up narrative? Nobody with good sense. Anyway, so I finally convinced my ex-husband to go to counseling with our pastor at that particular time. And, I was so enamored with my pastor. Like I thought that the sun rose and set on him. He thought he and his wife had the epitome of the best marriage, and I wanted my husband to be like that. I wanted my husband to be that. And I, would always get into, and a lot of women do this. Ladies, if y'all doing this, you need to stop it. And that's one thing that I will tell you. Stop that nonsense. Don't nobody want to hear that. And that's this. Pastor said, well, pastor says, did you hear pastor today? Pastor, whatever. If the situation were reversed and somebody kept telling you, oh, first lady did, first lady says, like you will grow tired of that very quickly. Don't do that. Don't compare your spouse to someone else. I don't care who they are. Don't bring someone else into your relationship if you guys don't have a mutual understanding about how the context of that conversation is going to look in the space of your relationship. I think it's damaging, and looking back on it, it's incredibly detrimental to your own relationship. Now, that is one thing that I will say, that I went to my ex-husband years later, despite my own feelings about him with his own issues, and I apologize to him for that because I feel like I owed him that. I owed him that apology sincerely. That should have never happened. It is what it is. So anyway, I was prone to the, well, pastor said, and you know, a lot of times in my prayer time, I would, you know, Lord, just make my husband like Pastor so-and-so. He loves his wife so much. Like, I want that kind of love. I wanted what was forward facing, what was public, you know, for us to see. Like, I wanted that. Well, fast forward, I discovered some not so savory things about my pastor and his relationship, and all that was presented to us was definitely not what it was. And I felt very duped. I did. Like, I felt like, I don't know you. I don't know these people. And I remember saying that to him, that I remember saying to him, I considered you a father. I handed my marriage over to you as a matter of covering and, you know, guidance. And I kept asking God to make my husband like you, when I didn't realize he was more like you than I would have ever imagined. That was a learning point for me. Like, like, y'all can't convince me that inviting that and having that kind of attraction or desiring that did not have a certain effect. Nobody can convince me of that. So ever since then, like, I stay away from that. That's one of the reasons why I don't hashtag relationship goals. I don't look at, you know, the presentation of other people's relationships as anything that I aspire to. I don't know those people. I don't talk to those people. I can't vouch for anything that's going on in their relationship, and I will not be pursuing a hashtag relationship goal, inviting things about that relationship that I'm not even aware of, that I wouldn't even go for. I don't know what they do. And it reminds me about what my grandmama told me years ago. And I have to paraphrase because I had to catch the lesson that Granny was trying to tell me. But she basically was like, you know, you never, ever display jealousy or envy at what somebody else has. You don't know the cost that they paid in order to get that. And you don't know the cost that they continue to pay in order to maintain that. And I, as a child, was like, okay, Granny. Now, as, you know, 50 some odd plus, she was absolutely right. So I keep that in the back of my head as far as, you know, aspiring to other people's relationships and what they do. That's why it's always so problematic when I see, you know, people, especially celebrities, and definitely with Will and Jada, oh, their relationship goals, blah, blah, blah. That question actually came up in one of my groups. You know, what celebrity relationship do you aspire to? And I saw people saying Cardi and Offset, and I'm like, why? Will and Jada. Some people said Ozzy and Ruby D. Some people said Denzel and I can't remember his wife's name. I know it starts with a C. Please forgive me. You don't know. Denzel could have been very much like his Fences character way, way, way back in the beginning. And we just don't know about it because we didn't really know who he was back then. So you don't never know the cost that somebody has paid in order to get to where they are now, especially if you don't know them. Anyway, so that brings me to right now and really where I was going with all of this. So because I shy away from relationship goals, and because I have not had the most successful relationships, I've been really kind of redefining what it is that I want in a relationship and what I'm looking for, what I'm willing to take on and what I'm not willing to take on. That's from everything from, you know, whether or not he has children, whether or not, you know, he's long distance or in a state. And so I've really just been having a lot of fun with carving that out and creating the boundaries and the, you know, kind of guidelines for my life that makes sense. So I was on a dating app, you know, swiping. Dating apps are not for me. I don't know why I keep trying it. I have no idea. Like, I get really, really gung-ho, and then probably about 24 to 48 hours later, my ADHD kicks in. I don't have ADHD. I really don't. But whatever that is kicks in, and I'm like, yeah, I'm just not feeling none of this. And so I get off of it. This time I paid thinking that it would keep my interest, and it did not. So I deactivated it. But I was talking to a friend of mine, and she was like, oh, you know, I know these guys, and they're great guys, blah, blah, blah. Can I give them your number? Like, oh, sure, absolutely. And so it was one guy that did text me, and responded to me, and we were carrying on a conversation. I found him very intriguing. I enjoyed our conversations. We had some timing issues because of his work schedule and then my work schedule and my obligations. We didn't have a whole lot of time to talk. As a matter of fact, like, we were texting in between, and texting is really not my preferred communication, but it's useful because I can quickly send off a text in the middle of the day as opposed to a full-blown conversation. I just don't have a lot of time for conversations right now, and it's unfortunate, but it's the nature of the beast. But he understood. He was doing his own thing, so we were talking around each other's schedule. So I got a text from him night before last, I want to say, and the text really was like, y'all gonna be like, well, what's wrong with you? Go with me. So I got the text, and the text essentially was a Dear Felisa text, but the text was in the context of, hey, I've really enjoyed our conversations. I want to be fully transparent. I've also, been talking to other people, and there's this one particular person that I've been talking to, and last night our relationship took a turn. And so because our relationship took a turn, I don't believe in dating more than one woman at a time. So I'm going to put an end to our conversation. I wish you the best, or something else. I looked at that and I was like, this is relationship goals. This is relationship goals. And the reason that I say that is because that is so in tune with what it is that I'm looking for. A man, first of all, who understands and knows exactly what he wants, that doesn't feel like he needs to fill up all of his bucket with a whole bunch of conversation because it makes him feel good. Now, for as long as we were talking, which wasn't very long at all, he was talking to other people because for him it was just conversation and getting to know people, and that's exactly how I was thinking. Like, there are other guys that I talk to, so I wasn't thinking that this was exclusive at all. I wasn't at even thinking that we were at the dating stage at all. This was really conversational, getting to know you, and that's exactly what it is. And you can get to know a whole bunch of people at the same time and see if y'all have any interest and any desire in moving it forward. I think that that's important. So he was having conversations, I was having conversations, and our conversations together were very interesting and very good. At the point that he decided, along with this young lady, that he wanted to now take it up to the next level, which I'm assuming would be a dating relationship. He did not want to have a whole lot of women that he was dating. And I so respect that, because that man didn't have to tell me nothing. He could have kept his options open. He could have continued to talk to me and get to know me while he was simultaneously dating other women or this other woman. He could have told her that he cut it off and he ended it, or I guess cut it off and ended it are not appropriate for what we were doing. But that he wasn't entertaining anyone else or having conversations with anyone else. And he could have kept that very separate. I'm accustomed to those kind of men. I'm accustomed to men who don't disclose everything and, kind of have an option that they keep in reserve. So at the time that I find out that they had an option in reserve, I'm hurt, and unnecessarily so, because truth and transparency are not high up on these men's list of things to do. And so when I got that text, I was like, this is what honesty feels like. I couldn't even be mad. Like, I was elated that I got that text. It saved me from a whole lot of stress, a whole lot of heartbreak, a whole lot of investment in a man who was going to be invested elsewhere. Saved me a whole lot of embarrassment. Saved me a whole lot of recovery time on the back end. Saved me a whole lot of therapy copay fees. Saved me a whole lot of distress, and saved me the unfortunate privilege of having to try and unravel and figure out what happened, because he told me that I can't tell you how that's relationship goals for me. A lot of times men will tell you, oh, I don't tell women the truth because they can't handle it. No, it's not that women can't handle it. We absolutely can. What we can't handle is the lies and the deceit that come along with it. What we can't handle is the willful omission of certain information because it benefits you. What we can't handle is the incredulous arrogance that accompanies the fact that you lie. The fact that you don't disclose, the fact that you keep things close to your vest because it benefits you. Somebody told me a long time ago that men don't do anything that don't benefit them. I think that that's all people. I really do. I think that that's all people. And I think it's rooted in selfishness, and it's rooted in a lot of arrogance. The idea that you manipulate a situation in order for you to gain the outcome that you want is a special kind of evil. Like, it really, really is. I have all the respect in the world for this brother. I really do. And if things don't work out with him and this young lady, whoever it is that he goes on and he's with, she's got to keep her, at least in that regard. Because one of the things that I used to tell my exes all the time is, you never ever have to wonder what I'm thinking or how I'm feeling. You know why? Because I tell you. I'm going to tell you, like, that I don't play those kind of games, and I don't keep those kind of secrets. I just think, what for? What are we doing? Like, we all grown. And if you're concerned about how I'm going to take it, you know, of course you can't, depending on what it is, you can't control the outcome. But I would rather have the honesty. I really would. I respect that brother. I respect that brother, and that brother just gave me the hope that he don't even realize that he gave me. That's relationship goals. I want someone who is that forthcoming and that transparent and that honest with me, to tell me, you know what, I'm doing X, Y, and Z. You know, I wish you the best, whatever, ahead of time, so that I don't waste my time and he doesn't waste his. And there's not like 2 women now or 3 women or whatever, all thinking that we invested in this one person and he off doing whatever to God, whatever. And we all sitting here looking hurt, having some weird Lifetime movie that we didn't sign up for and don't get paid for. That's a no. Anyway, I wanted to tell y'all that because, yeah, I know it looks really weird that I'm smiling about that. Like, that gave me so much hope, y'all. Like, it really is some truth tellers out there. And I'm happy that I discovered that on my own, because before I thought that I was a unicorn. Anyway, I'm Felisa. Let me know what y'all think down below, and I will talk to y'all later on. Bye.